This is so funny. Tucker Carlson could be hit with sanctions over his interview of Russian President Vladimir Putin. As some of you know, Tucker has interviewed Putin. The last we heard, that interview is going to be released later today at some point. It's reportedly almost 2 hours long. There is a report from Newsweek. Tucker Carlson could face sanctions over the Putin interview. Tucker Carlson's interview with Russian President Vladimir Putin could see the conservative pundit targeted by the EU lawmakers, current and former members of European Parliament have said to Newsweek. Carlson's work in Russia could see the former Fox host in hot water with the EU, according to Guy Verhofstadt, a former Belgian prime minister and current member of the European Parliament. As Putin is a war criminal, he said, and the EU sanctions all who assist him in that effort, it seems logical that the External Action Service examine his case as well. This is really an argument that goes to the tone, substance, and positioning of the interview. If the interview that Tucker Carlson does with Putin allows Putin to further the propaganda and lies that are the basis on which the illegal invasion of Ukraine is based, you could make the case that Tucker created that environment and fomented, aided, and abetted a sanctioned Putin in spreading that propaganda, and therefore would be liable for sanction himself. Newsweek reached out to Tucker Carlson Network by email for a comment. They didn't get one. I think that there's actually a bigger issue here. So the EU can sanction people. Obviously, they can ban people from coming to the EU, etc. I do think that there are concerns here with. I find it hilarious that a Tucker Carlson propaganda fluff piece of Putin could get him sanctioned by the EU. We also do need to balance freedom of speech with the responsibility to avoid becoming a conduit for propaganda, especially when we have an active and sensitive international conflict going on where death is just absolutely rampant. And my wish, the entry point for this is Tucker might get sanctioned. I wish that journalists, media figures, and pundits, and Tucker's not a journalist. Some people emailed me about that. He's a pundit. I see him as a propagandist. We should have standards that we set for ourselves in avoiding amplifying the narratives of authoritarian leaders, especially when you have a conflict. And I've talked about responsible platforming. I've interviewed people on the show with vile, disgusting views. I've interviewed people on the show who would like to see people they don't like dead based on identity, for example. But what I try to do, and I take seriously, is I need to either strategically give them enough rope to hang themselves and make it clear their ideas are terrible, or be ready to rebut those ideas or whatever. But I don't want to be a conduit for the furtherance of the propaganda. And it would be great if every media figure took that seriously. I haven't seen the Tucker interview yet. I don't have an issue with an interview taking place. What matters is the content framing and positioning of the interview. And it's a reality that, listen, the Twitter numbers that are attributed to Carlson's videos are fake. We know that. If you scroll by the video, that's a view, even if you don't actually watch it. But these interviews could influence public perception of what Russia is doing in Ukraine. And they can serve as a platform for leaders like Putin to promote their agendas to an international audience. And that's what we have to be really careful about. So I am not ignoring the free speech concerns. Obviously, it's not a First Amendment issue when we're talking about the EU sanctioning Carlson. The First Amendment is part of what's in the United States. So it's not bound by that. I see the free speech concerns. I would like there to be a higher standard. That standard clearly doesn't exist for many of these people. I will reserve judgment on this particular interview until we see it, which should be tonight. Did you know there are hundreds of commercial databases and people search sites that hold your personal information, and the number is growing every year? Anyone in the world, boss and ex, can use these people search sites to see your online activity, to find your home address, phone number, email address, license plate number, family members, financial info, even your political beliefs. Europe has certain laws that protect people against this, but it is a big problem in the United States. The FBI is even buying this data from these companies to get private information about Americans without search warrants. And the solution is our sponsor, Incogni. It takes just moments to sign up. Incogni will send takedown notices to all of the major data broker companies to get your information removed from their databases, which they are legally required to do. And Incogni will keep you updated every step of the way with live information about who's complied, where is Incogni still working on it. Incogni will even send follow-ups and appeals on your behalf. Go to incogni.com/Pacman. You'll get 60% off with the code Pacman. The link is down below.